get right. Let's 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 get right. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Dealatofficial. And this is No Filters. Always appreciate you hitting that like button for me, subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Get you something to eat, get you something to drink, get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Cause you see the title, fam. Let's get into this here.
Since the shocking, unexpected death of Charlie Kirk, since his untimely passing, his widow, Erika Kirk, has become the center of attention, with millions now looking to her to see how she will continue her husband's legacy. But while most have looked at Erika as a grieving widow doing her best to pick off where her husband left off, there has been a growing movement of people who have begun to question Erika and Charlie Kirk's death altogether. The main person leading this movement is the right-leaning political commentator Candace Owens. As you might already know, since Kirk's death, Candace has dedicated all her time calling out what she believes was a conspiracy to get rid of Charlie. This has led to Erika publicly speaking out against Candace, demanding that she stop peddling conspiracies about her husband's death. In a shocking turn of events, Erika would then agree to meet up with Owens in person for a sit-down, something that most people following this case wouldn't have expected to ever happen. The world is eagerly watching as this saga unfolds, wondering if they will finally get some real answers. But would they ever truly get the answers they're looking for, or are they secretly being played like fools? Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to The Truth Is, where I drop new videos exposing the truth weekly. In today's episode, we will be talking about Candace Owens and Erika Kirk's sit-down. Let's get right into it. Now, I want to make it clear that I have been suspicious of all of this since the death of Charlie Kirk. I definitely believe we were not told the truth when it came to his death. But unlike others, I don't think this happened because of people trying to take control of Turning Point USA. This is the controlled opposition narrative. This is much bigger than that. Those behind what happened to Charlie knew they weren't going to get the smart ones to buy into the narrative they put out. So they sent out their controlled media personalities to spin unbelievable conspiracy theories to muddy the truth. It's the same thing they've done every time, and it works every single time. Understand, this is all much bigger than Charlie. He was just used by powerful people to sell a narrative. It's all about controlling the American people. That being said, let's get into the drama between Candace and Erika, which has become America's favorite reality show. On September 10, 2025, the world was giving the shocking news that Charlie Kirk had died during one of his events. Not long after the shooting, they released updates on the alleged shooter. On September 11, 2025, the FBI released surveillance images and videos of an unidentified person of interest. Early on September 12, 2025, President Donald Trump himself announced on Fox that a suspect was in custody. A man by the name of Tyler Robinson was identified as a suspect. Tyler, guided by his father, turned himself into the police department and was charged with Kirk's death. The media ran the story, and the majority of the masses felt some relief when they had taken this man off the streets. But one person who wasn't buying the story from the beginning was Candace Owens. On September 15th on her podcast, Owens began questioning official accounts of the assassination, alleging lies were being told and that the government might be covering up information. Candace didn't waste any time calling out the narrative being pushed by the mainstream media. On November 22nd, 2025, Owens escalated her claims on Twitter, suggesting a multinational conspiracy involving foreign governments and alleging a plot against her own life. She made several claims on her podcast, alleging that she didn't believe Tyler Robinson was the shooter. She also claimed that Kirk was targeted by the powerful Israeli elite, claiming they started going after him after he allegedly refused to push their propaganda. Candace also stated on her show that she was told Kirk sent a text message to his friend the day before he died, telling him he felt like he was being targeted. Candace made it clear that Tyler Robinson was just a fall guy, and she was confident that Kirk's death was some sort of inside job, suggesting that those at the company were desperately trying to cover up what really happened. As she watched how Turning Point operated after Kirk's death, she started criticizing how they were moving, putting the pressure on everyone at TPU, including Erika Kirk. Owens criticized Erika's leadership as the new CEO of Turning Point, stating that Erika's refusal to investigate her inside job conspiracy theory was an emotional response that lacked logic. In the same episode where she said this, she also shared private text messages from Charlie Kirk to suggest he was in love with another woman before marrying Erika. After hearing this, it seemed that Erika finally had enough. This is when she started addressing Candace's allegations. On December 10, 2025, during her appearance on Outnumbered, Erika condemned those making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode by targeting her family. She directly addressed the theories mocking specific claims about her jewelry by calling it conspiracy collection, and ended with a clear message asking people to stop.
I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the handpicked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way. And they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard. And I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode, going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
You don't have to say it. I've never seen you like that.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy.
The conspiracies that are out there, all of the like. Do you think that there is more of it now because you do shine your light? I mean, did people just expect you would just go away?
I don't know what they expected. I don't know what they expected.
They pick on you because of your accessories. I mean, I've seen some of it.
Oh yeah, no, at this point, it's what, the conspiracy collection. Get it before Christmas. Like, seriously, if you want to find and pick me apart, go right ahead. I do not care. I don't. This was happening before Charlie was murdered. Both of us have been through the ringer of people will call you whatever they want to call you. They will.
She also appeared on Glenn Beck's program, where she claimed that she had Charlie's phone and did not see any text messages he sent where he said that he felt he was in danger the day before he died. On December 13th, Erika did an interview with CBS News where she again addressed Candace's claims. In this interview, she was asked what she thought about Candace's claims about what happened to her husband. She looked at the camera directly, addressing Owens' theories for the first time, telling her simply to stop and calling her claims evil and sick, with the most dramatic acting class expressions that you can ever imagine.
The podcaster Candace Owens, okay? At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Not long after these public back and forths, it was announced that Erika and Candace had agreed to sit down and talk the situation out. When the people heard this, they didn't know what to believe. Many believe this was TPU setting up Candace to get rid of her. So Candace's fans told her to avoid the meeting for her safety, as they believed she would somehow get poisoned at this meeting or worse. But despite all the warnings, Candace attended the meeting, and according to both sides, it was a 4-hour-long meeting that ended productively. Candace uploaded this video after the meeting telling her fans that she was still alive and that the meeting was great. She then told her audience that she would address it all on the next episode of her YouTube show.
I'm alive. I'm totally fine, and I'm sorry. I was going to do a show for you guys this evening, but I am truly exhausted. Very productive conversation. I asked every single question. I mean, from Egyptian planes to Turning Point USA faith, and I was very surprised by some of the answers that I got, and I think they were also very surprised when I shared certain intel. This probably should have happened a very long time ago, but I wanted to let you guys know that I am alive.
On that podcast, she again admitting that the meeting went well, but that she still didn't believe the narrative on how Charlie died.
Okay, you guys are crazy. You guys are absolutely crazy. The amount of people who attacked me for sending out a tweet being like, hey, I'm good, I'm alive, we had a very productive conversation. And they were like, she got the call. She got the call. She's betrayed us. She's doing something else. I can't believe it. This has all just been a show. Calm down, okay? What do you think happened? Erika said, stop, and then I was frozen for 4 hours and 30 minutes. She was like, hey, I felt name checked by the podcaster, Candace Owens, this obvious setup, and then asking me to stop. And it's interesting to hear Erika say that the reason she didn't ask me to stop in the beginning, because she was actually learning things from the show. She was actually learning things, and that I think she similarly felt that Bari Weiss was trying to create a moment. Obviously, it's who Bari Weiss is. It's the Zionist lobby. One piece of this where I still don't understand it, and the magic bullet. I said, one of the reasons why I really want to sit down is because I want to walk out of here and feel confident saying to my audience, hey, like, there's stuff going on behind the scenes, but Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. And I said that, I want to hear why people feel so confident at Turning Point USA that Tyler Robinson is the guy. And at this point, they elected to call the lawyer. What I got from the lawyer did not make me feel that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. He spoke a very long time. I asked, can you share with me what it is? And I said, when you share it with me, I will not say what that thing is. If we want to protect the integrity of the case, I'm not gonna, if you say, we've got the footage of him taking a shot, I promise I won't say that to the audience, but I will communicate to them that you have something that is solid. And no, to the exact contrary, this guy effectively said, not effectively, he said that they have nothing but the affidavit. Okay, so what we have seen is what they have. So with that in mind, I'm sitting here going, why are you signaling, why do I feel that the public's being gaslit on this? There's been nothing that's convincing. There are so many commentators who have gone out and said to you, it's overwhelming, the evidence is overwhelming. The text messages that don't have a date, that don't even sound real, that's overwhelming. That to me feels really fake and gay. I really do want to say that to every commentator that is out there trying to tell the public and insisting that if you say it enough times to become real, you're actually just being dishonest.
That brings us up to date with this entire situation. So now let's try to analyze this for what it really is. The first thing I noticed about all of this is that it's also performative. Not just Candace Owens, but also Erika Kirk. Candace on her shows, and Erika in these interviews. Both seem like they turned Charlie Kirk's death into a reality show. Both of them seem to be putting on a performance for the camera. Have you seen Erika's facial expressions during these interviews? Her overall behavior just doesn't seem authentic. It seems rather overly acted. When it comes to Candace, she has already changed her theory on all of this several times, backtracking whenever she realizes she hit a dead end. If we were to believe this entire mess of a situation, Erika Kirk agreed to sit down with Candace, who is acting like the direct opposition to TPU. This conversation is then done privately so no one can see what they actually talked about. Then we're told that the meeting went great, but there's still no solution. This should have been everyone's first red flag. Why in the world would Erika agree to sit down with Candace in the first place? Candace is basically claiming she's in some way complicit in the death of her husband. On top of this, why have this conversation in private? All the videos both of them are making is for the public. Yet, the conversation that's meant to clarify things is done privately. If this conversation was done to provide clarity on the situation, why not have done it live and kept it transparent? Because in reality, all of this was just another stunt to keep people watching the Charlie Kirk reality show. These two are playing the masses, and they're sadly falling for it. I believe both of these women know exactly what happened to Charlie. He was used by the elite in order to achieve exactly what is happening now. He was a pawn, used to push a political narrative, and that's as much as I'm willing to say on YouTube. Do I believe the media and the authorities aren't being honest about what happened to Charlie Kirk? I 100% do. But that's the extent of where I agree with anything Candace is saying. The reality is, both sides are capitalizing on the death of Charlie. They are both heavily profiting from his tragedy. They turned Kirk's death into a reality show that many YouTube channels are eagerly exploiting. To them, it's not about what happened to Charlie. It's about making money. They profit from all the drama and the back and forth. Think about this. Turning Point has 10x itself since Kirk's death, and Candace has only become more popular. Every time I see Erika in these interviews, she makes it harder and harder to believe her. She's in these interviews performing like she's in a local theater play. All of it seems so fake and inauthentic. I made a full video on Erika pointing out the signs that lets me know she isn't who she seems. If you haven't seen that video, check it out after this one. Erika is running around doing non-stop interviews, building TPU, and raking in millions. It's truly funny that she calls out Candace while she's making just as much money off her Kirk's death.
And I will never back down. And so my message to them is to stop. To stop.
And that's what we will say here on Outnumbered 2. God bless you. Hold up your book.
Stop in the name of God.
Amen.
As hypocritical as she is, at least Kirk was her husband. But Candace is literally bringing in hundreds of millions of views on Charlie Kirk's death while claiming to be his friend. You realize that she has likely made over $1 million off Kirk's death so far. 100 million fully monetized views, how long her videos are, is easily over $1 million. Don't get me wrong, I'm not being hypocritical. I understand that Kirk's death is important news, and all the media covered it. I covered it and gave my 2 cents on the situation. But when just about every single live stream you do is about Charlie Kirk, and they are all fully monetized, it becomes less about you covering the news and more about you turning this man's death into content. It's not about investigating Kirk's death, it's about making content off his death. Candace presents herself as a truth seeker, but in reality, she moves like control opposition. I know this is gonna get people upset, but I have to be honest. If I hold my tongue on how I feel, that wouldn't be fair to those who follow me. I know those who rock with me are gonna understand that I have to keep it authentic. Understand this, Candace's demographic crosses with my audience. Some of the people who watch also watch her. Candace is definitely more popular and more liked than I am. And I know that if I criticize her, I will likely upset many people who follow me. I'm okay with that because I know I am truly being honest. Those who are here for the truth are gonna respect it either way. But know that I could literally just sit here and take Candace's side and people would love me for it. But I'd rather be honest even if people unsubscribe because of it. I feel like I've seen enough proof that suggests Candace Owens is controlled opposition. I made a whole video about why I believe this earlier this year, but this situation just further confirmed it. Both of these women are just putting on one big show, all while making millions of dollars while doing it. Erika's early connections to Trump and her history in the industry as a model and actress lets you know she's just another pawn of the elite. Same thing with Candace. Candace's previous connections to the private prison industry and her early co-sign from Kanye lets you know she shouldn't be trusted either. Even Charlie has a questionable rise. He was put on a mainstream level just like Candace. People need to remember that they only put their puppets in front of the world. I refuse to play this game and pretend like I don't see what's happening in front of me. All of this is a show used to control you. I made a previous video where I stated Candace was right about Kirk's death, about the part where he was set up. Like I said, I do believe he was set up, but that's the only thing I agree with Candace with. I believe Kirk was set up by the same elite he was serving. The same elite Erika Kirk is serving now, and the very same elite Candace is serving too. The same elite who protected the Epstein files and called people stupid for wanting answers. That's another thing. The so-called classified documents from the Epstein Island that were released, it's just one big joke. They keep playing the American people as stupid. People need to understand those are part of the media, and everyone getting millions of views is likely controlled. They are purposely pushed to hundreds of millions of people. The media is and always will be how they control the masses. They use these puppets to shape the narrative. They use them to push the vision, separate the masses, and keep them pacified. When you speak truth, you get suppressed. The only reason I made it this far is because so many other channels react to my content all over the internet. If you're one of the people who saw my channel on someone else's channel, let everyone know in the comments. If you want to know how I grew this channel, I grew this channel because you guys support the truth movement. You guys built this, and that's why I will always keep it 1000 with you guys. I only serve you. The most important message of this video is that I want you guys to stop falling for their games. They're getting rich off controlling you. Don't allow them to manipulate you. Well, I'm gonna end this one here. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Hit that like button, subscribe, double tap that screen. Let's go.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. I am telling you, get ready. We have an explosive episode today. Actually, I should say it's a non-explosive episode, and you'll see why. We're going to jump right into this because after yesterday's episode, we were contacted by a variety of people with information, and it's time to state unequivocally that the steel neck quotation did not come from the surgeon. Okay, not only that, but it's odd that federal agents were, I would say, too involved at the hospital when I tell you. Okay, everybody, Shabbat Shalom. I just want to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody back at home. Happy Hanukkah to our greatest friends and allies. And, you know, this is a good time to mention that Israel does have a right to defend itself. Tucker Carlson is Adolf Hitler. And TikTok does need to be purchased by the Mossad. It's just how I'm feeling today. I am not different. Maybe you are different. Welcome back to Candace. crazy. You guys are absolutely crazy. The amount of people who attacked me for sending out a tweet being like, hey, I'm good, I'm alive. We had a very productive conversation. And they were like, she got the call. She got the call. She's betrayed us. She's doing something else. I can't believe it. This has all just been a show. Calm down, okay? What do you think happened? Well, Erika said, stop. And then I was frozen for 4 hours and 30 minutes, just like, as I just put all of these talking points into my head. That is not what happened. I keep telling you guys, I am not governable. I am basically akin to Kanye West. I never felt more seen than when he tweeted a lot of years ago, just fired my manager because I realized I can't be managed. That is me. That tweet right there, I was like, oh gosh, yes, Kanye, I get this, okay? Nobody is changing their mind anything. Well, how ridiculous would it have been if I'm doing all of this, investigating, asking all of these questions, and then Erika Kirk offers to answer some of these questions, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go. I can't betray people. I don't want any answers to the questions. I just want to ask them. No, this is the entire reason we are doing this. We've been looking at the situation going, why can't Turning Point USA just answer basic questions? And I can tell you guys that yesterday, for 4 hours and 30 minutes, there were no rules. They said you can ask us any question that you want, anything that's on your mind, which I appreciated. And some of you guys are thinking, who is they? Who is they? It's the Jews, obviously. Just kidding. It's Justin Strife. Justin Strife was in the room. It was just Justin Strife and Erika. George joined me just for the beginning portion of the conversation because he had that thing going on. I told you on the 15th all day he was in a conference. And then I brought my cousin Mia, the one that has a really bad attitude. I just bring her there for vibes. I think it just confuses people. They're like, I don't understand what's this person doing here. And the reality is she's like always just listening to Cardi B music. But she's my cousin and I always have her around. And so that was it. She was kind of sitting a little bit away, but at the table it was really just the four of us until George left. And I will be honest, I did not know what to expect going into the room. I did not know if they were going to be open. I didn't know what Erika's energy was going to be like, if it was going to be more of an argument, if there was going to be legal threats. You guys were telling me not to drink water, so I didn't drink water. Well, I brought my own water, but I didn't drink that water too. It was a lot. There's a lot going on, okay? And the conversation started with Justin Strife very sensibly saying, what are we looking to accomplish here? Like, what is the actual aim of this conversation? And he was pretty clear, and Erika was very clear, that they were sort of most upset with what obviously a bit of a fever pitch, when I tweeted that it was a God-forsaken company and people should not give money to it. And I have to own that. That's aggressive. That is actually aggressive in the retrospect. I was very frustrated. And I don't know, I felt like we weren't getting any answers and there were so many lies. And then I was getting attacked for asking all meaningful questions that it was within their capacity to answer. And I told you, I definitely, my problem in life is that I can rise to anger very quickly. I shared with them that I really felt like I was under attack for telling the truth from the very beginning, like casually, when I mentioned the Catholicism thing. Like, what was that about? I was like, look, I say something in a tribute to him. Alex Clark and Andrew Colvett then jump onto a podcast and they're doing that weird interview, which is clearly aimed at me. And they've teased the interview, it was like aimed at me, but they never say my name. And that to me felt like it was the first, the first bit of mud that was slung. Their answer for that was, hey, that was a really crazy time. A new system had to be put into place, and by no means did Erika give any person the authority to go out and say that the Catholicism thing was a lie. It kind of turned into this big thing. Whatever. Okay, that kind of obviously was not the meat of the reason that we wanted to sit down. I will say I was immediately refreshed by the fact that one of the first things that Erika did was she owned the lies, or rather, I guess they would cage it as miscommunications that were coming from various people at the company. Like, look, this is a company with 650 people that are employed. Everybody at this time is exceedingly emotional, and they are communicating, and no matter what somebody says on Twitter, they assume that this communication has come down from management, and that's not always a circumstance. But they owned right away which felt great, that if you guys recall, Erika sat down with Glenn Beck. I actually missed this portion because I didn't get to watch the interview in its entirety. We were pulling clips because a lot was coming out very quickly, but there was a portion that was going around that was viral, and it was Erika saying that she had Charlie's phone and that Charlie never texted anybody the night before saying that he thought that they were going to kill him. And that obviously reflected poorly on me because I was the one who said that he did, in fact, text multiple people the night before. And then I went on Jimmy Dore on Friday, Jimmy Dore's show, and I clarified. I said, Andrew Colbert told me specifically that he was one of the people that received this text message. So I got that first person. I didn't get that from a source. I got that directly from Andrew Colbert. And then somebody who had access to Dan Flood's communications said that Dan Flood similarly received a text message. They owned that right away and explained. Erika said that she has Charlie's phone. She's looking at his iMessages, and it turns out that he, like everybody else, communicates on Signal. He communicates on Telegram, and that those when she heard me say that, they then went and looked, and yes, that what I said was true. Andrew Colbert received a message the night before, and Dan Flood received a message the night before. Now, they asked me if I had actually like a concrete copy of what Dan Flood got the night before, and I said no. Somebody told me what it said, which was almost exactly what Andrew said, which is they're going to kill me. Andrew did not know who they were, that he was referring to were, but they clarified that the message that Dan Flood received said the left is going to kill me. So I can't confirm that one way or the other. I have to trust them on that because I did not see that concrete message. I was told that it said they. Now, obviously, we discussed the moment, and I'm laughing here because you TikTokers are actually out of control. You guys are going to be the reason that Israel gets TikTok because you guys are acting a fool all the time. And the videos were so hilarious of you guys mocking the Barry Weiss interview. It's great. It's good to laugh at ourselves. And Barry Weiss is always worth laughing at. But I was sort of like, hey, I felt name checked by the podcaster, Candace Owens, this obvious setup, and then asking me to stop. And it's interesting to hear Erika say that the reason she didn't ask me to stop in the beginning because she was actually learning things from the show. She was actually learning things, and that I think she similarly felt that Barry Weiss was trying to create a moment. Obviously, it's who Barry Weiss is. It's the Zionist lobby. She's trying to right perceived wrongs because I'm against her side. That does not surprise me. That's kind of why Barry Weiss exists. That's the reason they put her at CBS, is because she's just committed to stacking the audience with people that are going to present the pro-Israel cause and talk about anti-Semitism and talk about like crime being on the rise. It's kind of an embarrassment, but I actually do accept that. And I should also clarify that Barry Weiss obviously picked those questions. They were not random, like I told you. It wasn't like people were coming to the mic and it was an open mic and they didn't know what they were going to get. It was all very much planned by Barry, but Erika said that she knew the general idea, like they were going to mention me and mention the conspiracies, but she was not given that specific, the podcaster, Candace Owens, question. So I think that's fair to clear that up. Now, I did not at all recant any of my suspicions, and I understand people disagree with me about particular people at Turning Point USA. I communicated what I communicated in front of the whole world. My skin crawled after I spoke to Terrell Farnsworth, the person who took the cameras down. He lied to me several times. I explained to them, which felt good to have that direct communication, how Terrell lied multiple times, and that I did not understand why he was there that day. They echoed what he said. They defended what he said, that they were trying something new that day, that they typically live stream, which is what Terrell said. They typically live stream, and I said every college event. Well, they said, well, yeah, they live stream the events that are tour stops, but they don't live stream like the outside prove me wrong type events. And that was something that was new, and it required Terrell. And I said, even if that was all real, if that was all true, I still didn't feel good about the conversation that I had with Terrell, and I can't ignore my gut about the many little lies that he told. I thought the video he recorded was weird. I know he comes from a very powerful family. I personally do not trust him. And I obviously do not like the fact that I said, Tyler Boyer lied about this thing and said, came up with an excuse and said, well, Terrell was asked to take the camera down. That's the reason, he said on Twitter, because the police wanted him to take it down to secure the footage. And I said, I know that's not true. And they said, well, after all of that, after he took the cameras down, there was a police officer or Fed, whoever it was, that spoke to him and asked him to secure the footage. Well, that makes sense, but it's not a reason for why he took it down immediately. It makes sense that as you're investigating, you're going to say, who's got the footage? Let's lock it down. But it didn't make sense to me that Tyler Boyer lied about it. And I don't trust Tyler Boyer. And that is never going to change. Similarly with Rob McCoy. He makes my skin crawl. I can't explain it. I look at him and he's a bad person and nobody can make me feel one way or the other about that. I was surprised to learn, and this kind of gets into, I guess, us not knowing the inner workings at Turning Point USA, that Rob McCoy actually does not work with Turning Point USA in any capacity whatsoever. And so him communicating as he has done, like, I'm the pastor, I'm this, I'm that, it's just not real. Like, that is not real. And we should know that that's not real. And when he says that, call him out on that separately from Turning Point USA. I was operating under the assumption that he worked for Turning Point USA. And I said, if obviously that's wrong, I'm happy to correct that. But also, what were we to assume when he hit the stage at the memorial and said, I'm America's pastor, and then had the Wikipedia updated and said, well, I'm assuming he had it updated because who else would do that he started Turning Point USA Faith. So I guess, to be clear, we were just wrong about that. And I will have a lot more to say about Rob McCoy and where I believe he fits into a lot of things. So I'm not letting up on that. Now, one piece of this where I still don't understand it, and the magic bullet. Okay. Now, we all recall what happened. I casually say on the show, hey, I saw the footage, there was no blood. And honestly, when I said it, I didn't process how big of a deal that was with the 30-06. Very quickly what happens is Andrew Colvett whips up this tweet about what happened with the bullet, and he said he wanted to address all the discussion that was being had about the online chatter. I'm obviously paraphrasing here. He says, I apologize, it's going to get graphic, but he spoke with the surgeon. The bullet should have gone through. The surgeon then explained that what he's typically seen on these wounds, and basically this was all a miracle. Charlie saved lives, even in death. And the internet clocked it, this miracle, the healthy bone. His bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive. Like, this is a quote, by the way. His bone was so healthy. I want to read it. This is allegedly from a surgeon. Quote, his bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel. It should have gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. And we were just like, eek. That kind of was like the beginning of the WTF, right? I feel like that was kind of the beginning of it. And immediately people in the comments responded to Andrew, and he said, this individual said, this post is so fake as it would violate HIPAA. Like, there's patient privacy. You can't just call up the surgeon. And then Andrew Colvett replies and says, rest assured, I would not have posted without full permission. Now, he said he spoke to the surgeon, and they confirmed that Andrew spoke to the surgeon, but that they did not know that he was going to write that tweet. They did not know that he called up the surgeon. So, like, it very much came across to me like Andrew was just flying by the seat of his pants. I don't know. Like, he was just flying dark on me. And I was like, that seems very strange to me, because why would a surgeon do that? Like, the first thing the surgeon should say is, I can't speak to you. I don't even know, in theory, Andrew wasn't even there when Charlie died. I don't even know why the surgeon even knows this guy, actually. Maybe he hung around after, but, Andrew was not one of the people that got out of the hospital or anything like that. So this is quite literally the PR guy who's calling the surgeon. And so that just seems very inappropriate for a person to do, period. And I would say it was kind of the beginning, but that was what I got from that. Now, obviously we discussed the security. I brought up Brian Harpole, this interview with Sean Ryan, and I think we can believe Turning Point when they say that they did not approve of this. They had no idea who was going on Sean Ryan. I think that's pretty clear. I don't believe he works there anymore. So that was kind of him. just getting out there and perhaps trying to rescue his own reputation. And I think that only made his reputation worse, actually, because people rightfully sensed that he wasn't telling the truth in that interview, that he was being cagey, that he was saying things that didn't make any sense. Again, you constantly have these people that believe, like Brian Harple, that with enough performance, he can sit down and you're just going to convince people that this is real. And this is just a different time. Like I said, these TikTokers are out of control. They will check you in 4 seconds, okay? Things that, the biggest piece of this that I want to communicate, and that I did communicate to them, and I hope that they took me seriously on this, or rather that they take my strong advice on this. I said, one of the reasons why I really want to sit down is because I want to walk out of here and feel confident saying to my audience, hey, like, there's stuff going on behind the scenes, but Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. Like that, more will come out, but you can take it from me that this is what happened. I was looking to achieve that because there's been a lot of signaling from various people, some people who are experts, some people who have been involved in cases, that there's obviously going to be stuff that the public does not have access to. And so it is at least plausible that they have seen very clear footage that we've been asking for of Tyler Robinson getting up there and taking the shot. Like, they have access to UVU cameras. So I was hoping to hear that. And I said that I want to hear why people feel so confident at Turning Point USA that Tyler Robinson is the guy. And at this point, they elected to call the lawyer, like, you know, their lawyer who is involved in this case, one of the lawyers that's involved in this case. There's always a team of lawyers, especially for something like this. And what I got from the lawyer did not make me feel that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. It did not make me feel confident that he didn't or did shoot Charlie Kirk. I was very surprised by this. He spoke a very long time. I asked, you know, can you share with me what it is? And I said, when you share it with me, I will not say what that thing is. If we want to protect the integrity of the case, I'm not gonna, if you say, we've got the footage of him taking a shot, I promise I won't say that to the audience, but I will communicate to them that you have something that is solid. And no, to the exact contrary, this guy effectively said, not effectively, he said that they have nothing but the affidavit. Okay, so what you have, what we have seen is what they have. What is being discussed publicly, you are this whole like non-expert problem with like, well, you don't know. It's like what you read, his messages that don't have any dates on it, Tyler Robinson writing out everything and the clean alibi, that's what they have. And what he explained to me was that that's the affidavit stage, that's where it's at. And then what takes place now is the investigation is ongoing, right? So right now they're looking for more information, and once investigators, they could very well have obviously footage, and that is why they might feel that, oh, we're definitely gonna get this prosecution. But the reality is they don't actually share that information with the victim. They don't share that information with Erika. They don't, in this part of the process, they will not know what investigators have discovered, this is what the lawyer told me, until May. Okay, they have not seen anything that you have not seen, is what I want you to know. So with that in mind, I'm sitting here going, why are you signaling, why do I feel like the public's being gaslit on this? There's been nothing that's convincing. There are so many commentators who have gone out and said to you, it's overwhelming, the evidence is overwhelming. The text messages that don't have a date, that don't even sound real, that's overwhelming. That to me feels really fake and gay. I really do want to say that to every commentator that is out there trying to tell the public and insisting that if you say it enough times to become real, you're actually just being dishonest. And I offered that a more honest way to communicate would be to say, we think he's involved. We feel strongly, I've said that, I think he's involved. We are very hopeful that throughout this investigation, we are going to get that concrete thing. And that's where we're at right now. That's just the stage that we are at. That is not what we are getting from them. That is like, I just feel like that's really important to let you guys know, let the gaslighting stop. They have what you have, okay? There is nothing else. They are in an investigative stage. Erika has been named as the victim. They will know more in this May hearing, which is the probable cause hearing. That's what the lawyer told me, it's probable cause hearing. And that's when they will see the evidence. That's when they get to present the evidence, why they are going to stand there before a judge and be like, yes, we need to move this forward. It's not just an affidavit. We're not pulling together scraps. We have concrete evidence. Until then, okay, until we all get on the same page and understand what else they have, I am very confident stating the opposite of all of my, I guess, well-paid peers, in that I don't believe that Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger. And what I also said to them was, and I said this in front of the lawyer, because I don't know why I'm like this. I was like, you might need a new lawyer. I was like, because this person's trying to sell to you that this is solid. One of the rules that me and my husband have is that if you have a lawyer that tells you like you're 100% gonna win, it's very clear that you're gonna win, you need a new lawyer. Okay, that's a cheerleader, that's not a lawyer. A lawyer, even if you should 100% win, should be telling you the risks here. You know, I feel good about this case, like let me talk real to you. I feel good about this case, but here's where things could go wrong. I want you to understand those risks that are involved. We don't have this yet, we don't have that yet. And especially given what I told them, which is your lawyers, or the investigators rather, not their lawyers, because they're not the ones investigating, is the state of Utah that's investigating. They have not called the one solitary person, as I told you guys, who filmed as he was on the roof. Remember the guy that's like, oh, there's somebody on the roof, and he sees him crouch down. I said, I spoke to that person, and his testimony would be devastating to your prosecution. He saw the person on the roof, he filmed the person on the roof at 12:23 p.m., and he did not see that person take the shot. And this is not some random student. This is a guy who trains people to shoot guns at a range. He knows guns, okay? He said what he saw was a smaller gun. He said that this person was dressed in black tactical gear and there was no recoil. That's devastating. That would be devastating to the prosecution. Wow. And yet investigators haven't reached out. Now they offered back, well, maybe they haven't reached out because they have an even clearer video. And that's true. That's actually a good rebuttal. They're like, we don't even have to talk to this guy because the video will speak for itself, and we saw what we saw. Okay, but wouldn't you still want to speak to the other guy so you could prepare? I don't know, to question him something. I don't like that this investigation is going on, and I feel as though I spoke to more people than they have. Both of the people who filmed videos that day told me that they weren't reached out to. So I don't understand what's happening here. I don't understand the confidence, I guess, is the best way to say this. I told them I do not understand the confidence that is happening. Now, another really big thing that happened was they brought me Mikey's call logs, okay? They brought me Mikey's call logs, and that is why I said this was a productive meeting. There is no other way to say it. I asked every question, and they came with paperwork to show and to answer and to explain certain things. Also, which was, I thought, actually kind of sweet, that I guess I did on the previous show. I was like kind of looking at things into Mikey, and I couldn't find him. And someone said, I think Mikey's not his real name. They thought it was his middle name, actually. And I just assumed, okay, well, maybe he's using his middle name and that's why I can't find him. But Mikey really wants you guys to know that is his real name. And it is his real name. I found out shortly thereafter that they were confusing his middle name with, they thought it was switched. That Michael is his real name, just to clarify that, because I realized I actually didn't go back and clarify that. But Mikey's call logs, big piece of this, okay? I'm going to, I guess, jog your memory on what Blake said about Mikey that day, and then I'll tell you what actually happened, because I don't think Blake has that great of a memory. Okay, take a listen.
So I was not with Mikey, or I don't remember being with him. I think I was ahead of him as we left. And we get out, and I run for, can't have been more than 15 or 20 seconds. And then I realized there hasn't been another shot, so the shooter has likely been detained or stopped or something, not in immediate danger. I pause, I look around me, and I see Mikey. And I see Mikey there. And truthfully, I will never forget what I saw, because I've seen Mikey almost every day for the past 2 years. I know his personality very well. He's a very bubbly guy. He's a very happy guy almost all of the time. And I'll never forget what I saw, because it was clear in the moment that he was profoundly freaked out. What I'll always remember is the way his lip was quivering, which I'd never seen before. And you very rarely see from someone that he was freaking out. And then I think he literally said to me, I might be imagining this, but I think what he literally said was, he was looking around, and then he says, I need to call Erika. And then he takes his phone and he begins calling Erika. And I don't want to disclose how that call unfolded, but he did that. Your mind extends all of this, but that was happening within a minute of all of this occurring. I remember he calls Erika, Around the same time, I pull out my phone and I call my mom just to say, hey, Mom, there's been a shooting. You're going to see it on the news. I'm okay. You know, pray for me. I've got to go. And I remember that call. And around the time I put that phone away, and then he immediately calls his dad. He calls Rob McCoy. And he says, Dad, someone shot Charlie. You need to call all of your pastor friends. Charlie was hit. We need everyone to pray right now. And that's what he told him.
It's different.
Okay, so that's just not right. And so when he says, I might be imagining this, for I'll never forget, followed by I might be imagining this, probably means that maybe you forgot and like you really could be imagining. Now for me personally, I think the normal physiological response in these high adrenaline situations for most people is you lock in. That they're literally your body, when it goes through something, when it's terrified and is going through this sort of like, you are really paying attention to details. We've learned about this many times over in health class growing up. This is why they talk about that fight or flight response, and quite literally there's stuff happening to your body. And so there's a lot of details here that are just not accurate. And the one that surprised me the most about these call logs is I certainly feel that we were given the impression over and over and over again that the first person Mikey called was Erika, right? He called Erika. We were told this by many people also that he trained, like he almost like went to a camp and trained, and Charlie was like, 1, 2, 3, go, and like fast, 1, 2, 3, go. That's why he walked away, 1, 2, 3, go, and just told him, this is what the first thing to do is. Well, he didn't do that. Actually, the first person he called was his wife. He called Elizabeth McCoy. And then he stayed on the phone with his wife for 10 minutes. And during those 10 minutes, he three-wayed Erika 3 minutes after the shot went off. And then he three-ways his father, and then he three-ways a third person who I am not interested in mentioning because it's not relevant. This is Danny McCoy, by the way, is his brother that's in the military, but that's before the shot goes off. Charlie Kirk shot goes off. You know, I have that in detail. Charlie's brought to security. Mikey McCoy calls his wife. They will stay on the phone for 10 minutes. Okay, in that same minute, because we know this, because Blake Neff has given us his call log to his mother. Blake Neff called his mom. His call with his mother lasted 45 seconds. So we're assuming it went to 12:25. It very well could have stayed in 12:24, depending on the millisecond. Blake Neff ends that phone call with his mother. Mikey McCoy, after the phone call with his mother ends, adds Erika to the phone. Okay, so that when he was recapping, and he's like, oh, his lips quivering, and he's like, I gotta call Erika. And he's like, and then I called my mom. That's not right. That's just not right. Okay, Mikey called Erika after Blake Neff ended that phone call with his mother. If call logs are to be believed above, human testimony. Mikey McCoy then drops Erika from the phone call 2 minutes later, and then he adds his father to the phone call. Again, he is this entire time on the phone with his wife, okay? And then Mikey McCoy ends his phone call with his father. He does call another person who I'm not mentioning because it's just not relevant to anything. Not a character in the story, rather. And then he ends the phone call with his wife, and a minute later, his brother calls him back, and they stay on the phone for 10 minutes. I did not get this from everybody speaking about this Mikey McCoy call log. I know that you guys did not get this. I did not get this. I don't know why she was disappeared from this. Like, you could go, look, the wife wants privacy. No, she was like, main stage. At the memorial, has been, I would say, very involved in a lot of this kind of, I think it's very close that she's close with Erika. They went on vacation together. So I don't get this disappearing act. I found that to be like, okay, but they were forthcoming with it. That feels good. That feels good, guys. Like, wow, we don't have to guess. Now we have solid answers. And like I said, when you come out and give solid answers and you're not weird and calling people names and saying all this stuff, it allows people to go, okay, I feel a bit more like we can trust this process because we have communication. That's the reality. And so I wanted to update you with that. Also, another thing that really, I think, surprised them and I think surprised me is getting back to this Hamptons retreat. The thing about the Hamptons retreat, and I communicated this with them, that makes me so uncomfortable is how many little lies were told. I think I've been clear about that. like Seth Dillon definitively pressed Charlie at this event. Now, whether it was in a hypothetical, which it was in a hypothetical, but he got fired up in the hypothetical of Charlie discussing potentially tweeting something against Bibi Netanyahu, it did lead to this firecracker moment. Again, this is one of those things where I go, why am I always being hung out to dry for telling people the truth? Especially when I wasn't going, oh, well, Seth Dillon killed Charlie Kirk. I just, like, this happened. It factually happened, and yet everybody's kind of putting out these weird statements and they're not being honest in them. And I was saying to them, that made me feel really weird. And I would love to know more about this Bibi Netanyahu offer to fund Turning Point to the next level. At which point Erika said she was unaware of that happening. It is obviously totally possible that that was kept in the business lane of Turning Point USA. But I'm certain, I said I am absolutely certain.
That like button, double tap that screen. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Hit that like button, double tap the screen so we can like what you hit. Tell you something about controlled opposition. That's like controlling the ops about when the ops should come for you. That's like controlling bad people and just saying, hold on, I'll take this bad, not that bad. You don't get to choose. It just come as it is. It just come as it is, as it is. Now, she ought to be ashamed of herself. Period. Ought to be ashamed of herself, man. Because I told you she was a part of the people. And she's going to keep it staying with them. That's why she able to be this little black girl doing something on YouTube at a very, very high level. This is ridiculous. Chris says, all the way ashamed. You know, what's funny to me is that even in her threats, she still was walking around smoothly like no problem. And even with Kirk, let me get right. With Ericka Kirk, the wife, acting like she got a problem with her, the whole time they've been partners forever. You understand? They've been fam. They've been partners. They've been around. She's been around her. They've been around her. Man, hear me, man. Hit that double tap that screen, hit that like button right now. I do not believe Candace Owens. Excuse me. No more. Let's go.
That I didn't.
Let's assume for a moment you're right, and that all these Egyptian... Let's assume for a moment you're right, and that all these Egyptian planes were flying around tracking Charlie Kirk and Turning Point and Erika Kirk. Why? What is your theory?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, what's your theory then? You must have an idea.
My theory is that we should investigate everything strange that happened on that day so we can figure out what happened. The difference between me and you is that I have the courage to take the risks and ask the questions first, okay, before it's popular. You wait until it becomes popular and then you change your mind.
Stop.
And she made no request of you whatsoever, Erika Kirk, in 4.5 hours. Well, no matter what your opinion is about Candace Owens, and very few people don't seem to have one, she has a definite knack for commanding attention. Many people have been openly enraged by her theorizing on the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Many have been captivated nightly by what they see as either a thrilling real-time investigation into a colossal cover-up or a cynical strategy to exploit the most emotive and consequential news story of the year. Several of the Candace Owens claims are focused on Turning Point USA, the organization funded by Charlie Kirk and now run by his widow, Erika, who last week issued this firm request.
She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now?
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
Well, shortly after that, Candace Owens was invited to a lengthy private meeting with Erika Kirk, which is now the catalyst for frenzied speculation that she may be having second thoughts about some of her theories. She's also, I should add, marking the release of her new book, Make Him a Sandwich. And amid all of that, she joins me now for her first interview since the meeting with Erika Kirk. Candace Owens, welcome back to Uncensored.
It's good to be with you at the end of another year.
Yes, and what a year it's been, not least for you. It's fair to say your fame continues to rise, infamy some would put it, but you're always a welcome guest on Uncensored. Let's get to this extraordinary meeting that you had with Erika Kirk. It came right after we saw her say in that CBS town hall, you should stop the conspiracy theories. So who approached who about you guys actually getting together?
I was approached by Turning Point after Blake Neff, who works on Charlie's show, sort of fumbled this invite. I'd almost say it was a fake invite publicly. And then in the middle of the night said, oh, Candace is not able to be here tomorrow. And they never messaged me. And I think there was quite a bit of public backlash with how they went about it. It's just not the way that we try to set meetings. And so what happened after was they reached out to me, said Erika would agree to do a live stream, just the two of us. And then after Erika's PR blitz, they reached out again and said that they felt that it was better for us to meet one-on-one as opposed to us sitting down having Megyn Kelly moderate, which was the idea originally.
Right, and so where did you have your summit meeting?
At a hotel here in Nashville.
And a lot of your supporters, fans of your show, think that you may have been lured into a trap. Did anything while you were there make you think you were being lured into a trap?
I don't know that a lot of my fans think that I was being lured into a trap. I think ahead of time they had some concerns, obviously, because I think in general, after you see a public assassination and you start tracking so many lies that are happening, there's going to be an understandable amount of angst that people feel. And I certainly felt the angst as well. I've obviously been very clear that I am suspicious of some of the characters that are at Turning Point USA. So I totally understand why the public was concerned.
When you saw Erika, she was obviously angry about you in that CBS town hall. What was her demeanor like when you met her?
Well, I don't think that she thought she was angry in that. I think maybe that was the characterization from the public. I certainly thought she was angry as well. And she sort of clarified that she was a bit annoyed by the questioning, the way in which Barry had set up the question with the podcaster Candace Owens, which I think was definitely being driven more by Barry Weiss's feelings towards me, long-running feelings towards me, than it was perhaps for the benefit of CBS and trying to pretend to be an impartial journalist. So I think she was frustrated by the line of questioning, is what she explained to me.
So how would you categorize the 4.5 hours? If you were looking at it in totality, what was the tone of the conversation? What do you think you both got out of it?
Well, for me, answers to the questions of trying to understand why there were so many Turning Point lies and why instead of people acknowledging that these are lies, I felt that there was this billion-dollar psychological operation to convince people that Candace is just crazy. These aren't lies, these are made up. And so I was very refreshed that they owned up to the lies. That was a great first step. And I think, what motivates that? Maybe because despite having what I would assume to be the best PR agents and crisis PR agents in the world, we're moving toward a different world where people don't really care. If you are friends with the people at, WME and CAA and what they can do for you, that sort of power is ineffectual in this day and age. And so I think they recognize that, and that the public simply doesn't believe the story that they've been fed, and the psychological operation to convince us not to believe our own eyes or to trust our common sense instincts has failed. And I
Okay,
think
so-
on their end, they got more clarity on how I figured out certain things, more clarity on why I am convinced that there are people that are inside of Turning Point that are dirty. And I was able to share more with them off record, and I think that they got more clarity in exchange.
Before we get into some of the sort of specifics, is there not a danger here? I've already seen it in some of the reaction from people that follow your show. Is there not a danger that in seeking to be the one that exposes the truth, and I don't know the truth about what happened to Charlie Kirk. I work on the assumption that this lone, twisted, weirdo Tyler Robinson killed him for whatever reason, and I suspect personally that is how this will play out. However, I have an open mind in the sense that we still don't really know what happened with President Kennedy's assassination. I found the attempted assassination of Donald Trump very odd in the way that's been handled by the authorities and so on. I'm not naive. As a journalist of 40 years, I'm not naive enough to say every single thing you've been saying is obviously baloney, because I don't know. And we'll get to some of the more specific details. But is there not a danger, Candace, that by having a 4.5-hour private meeting, rather than doing it in public, that all you're really going to do, collectively actually, you and Erika Kirk, is fuel the conspiracy theories about what you may or may not have discussed in that meeting, what part of the stuff that you've been broadcasting on your show she agrees with and doesn't agree with, and so on. Is there not a danger that this is the least transparent way of going about trying to get solutions here?
Well, I'm a very transparent person, so my preference was to do it publicly, but I took the offer, obviously, to have any conversation, because if I hadn't done that, then I think everything I've been doing would have appeared disingenuous. Like, oh, Candace is pretending that she wants answers to her questions, but when she got this offer, she suddenly said she didn't want to go because it wasn't public. They would have felt like I was moving the goalpost. Wow. So I was willing to take anything. And from their viewpoint, they felt like after the CBS News and the Fox News hits that Erika did, my understanding was that they felt that it was a good idea to bring the temperature down first by having us sit down and communicate. And that doesn't mean that they necessarily say, oh, that's it, now we're not going to have any other public discussion. I'm hopeful they will. I think they should. I totally agree with you. More transparency, the better.
Who else was in the meeting? Erika was there. Who else was there?
Justin Strife, who is the COO of Turning Point USA, and my husband was only there for a portion of it, and my cousin.
So there were no lawyers, for example?
No lawyers. But they did phone their lawyer because I asked the question. I was like, look, I'm open to being wrong, obviously. If there is something, which I think the media was kind of hinting at, that they had more but they couldn't share it with the public, I said, I'm happy to keep my mouth shut, and I want to feel good walking out of here that there is something there. There is some sort of a smoking gun, and I will tell viewers just to be patient. And so they did call one of the lawyers working on this case, and it was not convincing at all. He said, in effect, all we have is what the public has seen, and we won't know more because we're investigating and looking for more. And so that just made me go, why is everybody being so over the top and ridiculous and using words like the evidence is overwhelming, it was Tyler Robinson, when they don't have anything that's overwhelming to show that they don't have a video of him taking the shot, which I think was something that I assumed, like, okay, there's all these cameras, maybe they actually have that video and they're waiting for a moment to release that to the public. They don't have that. Or at least I can say Erika's side has not seen that, and the lawyer communicated to me that they would not have access to that until earliest would be May. That right now they're just investigating, just like we're doing back at home.
You said that your motive for going to the meeting was that you would be able to come out and tell the world Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. So are you in a position to say that? Do you believe, as a consequence of your 4.5 hours with Erika, do you believe that it is now most likely that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
Absolutely not. I haven't seen one piece of compelling evidence that Tyler Robinson scaled the rooftops like Spider-Man on a college campus that he didn't go to, and fired one shot, a magic bullet shot, and killed Charlie Kirk. I have not seen one piece of compelling evidence. In fact, I've seen more compelling evidence to the contrary.
You've seen their vibrant ads illuminating billboards and train stations for many years. Now it's time you actually saw the show. Shenyun is celebrating its 20th anniversary, a dazzling run which has seen iconic performances at iconic venues like the Kennedy Center, the London Coliseum, and the Sydney Opera House. Each season tours to more than 200 cities worldwide. You'll see classical Chinese dance, a live orchestra, and stunning animated backdrops which bring to life 5,000 years of Chinese civilization. World-class performers in flawless costumes tell a story of myths, legends, warriors, and heavenly realms, all set to stunning music. It's been described as inspiring, uplifting, and life-affirming. And if you're looking for an unforgettable gift for your family, I really recommend that you check it out. Visit shenyun.com/peers to waive all ticketing fees when you order. That's shenyun.com/peers. Who does Erika think killed her husband?
Well, I think that in her recent PR blitz, she sort of communicated that she trusted her team, and her lawyer was using kind of the same rhetoric that the media has been using, where, you know, there's really, this is like, you know, it's overwhelming. Maybe he didn't say the word overwhelming, but he was like, it's very clear, I think is what he said in particular. And then I pushed back and I said, what's clear? The affidavit? That's all you guys have? And I did tell him, if you would never be my lawyer, because it's just, you know, a lawyer that's just kind of giving you adjectives, and I don't need a cheerleader, I need someone to be practical and to say, we don't have anything yet. I think the communication should be, we are hopeful that throughout this investigation, we are gonna uncover more evidence that links Tyler Robinson to this crime. I do feel confident that he was involved in some capacity on that day. As I have said many times on my show, I was the one who broke the story that he was at the Dairy Queen throwing out clothes, a local Dairy Queen throwing out clothes in a nearby cemetery. And so I do think he was involved, and multiple people were involved that day. And I think he did pick up clothes. I had communication with Lance's family. I had communication with Tyler Robinson's family. And for some reason, Lance is being protected, which I find to be very strange. His own family thinks he's guilty of more, and they find it weird that the feds kind of glossed over him, almost as though he was a Fed operative, like he was working on behalf of them. And, you know, we've caught the feds have lied a lot. It's just a fact. Turning Point USA people have lied a lot. That is a fact, which they have agreed to. They said that these were mistakes, but they, you know, whether a mistake or not, the public was lied to. So this obviously, you know, matters deeply to me, and it's just absurd that people would think that I'm doing this for clicks. I knew Charlie. Charlie and I are very close, and it has been one of the most disgusting things ever that people, first and foremost, tried to start this psychological operation that Charlie and I hadn't spoken since 2019. They've lied about virtually everything that I've said on my podcast. I'm not gonna let this go, okay? I can't, we don't live in a country that is the embodiment of democratic principles. If Charlie Kirk gets publicly executed and the media apparatus is doing everything they can to cover the tracks, I would say to cover the tracks by demanding that there is no further inquiry into what happened on that day.
Right,
that is not a country that I can get behind.
Let's get to some of the details, because it seems to me you've put up a lot of theories, but a lot of them don't seem to have a clear conclusion from you about what you actually think happened. I mean, you've been all over this now ever since Charlie was killed. What do you believe happened to him? Who do you think killed him?
So I can't tell you definitively who pulled the trigger. I'm not going to lie to audiences and just put something out there that's not real. But what I can say is I feel convinced that the feds were involved. I can tell you that. I think the feds were involved in staging a cover-up. I think Kash Patel knows what happened and did not happen on that day. I am convinced by me being told by people that are feds that he is not acting right and that he is not wanting to share any information. Just a couple of people are allowed to even see anything. A Fed told me that they can't even touch the Charlie Kirk file without risk of being fired, and that he's grown increasingly mad. The U.S. Marshals that were there when they were doing the quote unquote manhunt for 33 hours said that Kash Patel effectively sent them on a wild goose chase which is what was signaled to the public when he said, we got him, and it was actually the wrong person. And so it caused people to stop looking because they were convinced they had the shooter. They felt that that was in order to allow the real perpetrators of the crimes to get away.
No, but that could just be the fog of the immediacy of these things. We've seen it at Brown University, exactly the same thing. They thought they had the killer. They thought they had the killer. It turned out to be the wrong person. Right? It doesn't mean there's any great conspiracy by the feds to cover anything up. And again, even if what you're saying is true, I don't know. Maybe you're right. If what you're saying is true, what is it they're covering up? You've so far intimated or inferred something weird involving Egyptian planes. So, well, you know, what's that about? You've inferred perhaps Israeli involvement in some way. You've certainly inferred a lot of Turning Point USA involvement. That's a lot of people getting involved here in the murder of Charlie Kirk potentially. But what I'm really curious about is, given you've been all over all this and you've been airing all these theories, well, which one is it? It can't be all of these things. Is it somebody?
Well, of course,
is it someone at Turning
can,
Point USA? I mean, who do you actually believe was behind this?
Of course, it can be all of those things. And what's really ironic here is that there's a clip of Charlie in the last months leading up to his death where he speaks about the JFK assassination. And he says that multiple countries were involved, multiple people were involved, the LBJ was involved, the feds were involved. And he's correct. That is what it means. When there is a conspiracy, there are multiple people that are involved. Of course, there's not one person on a grassy knoll who shot JFK.
Well, it might have been that.
There are people who had to
It might have been that.
who would have had to. The Dallas police were involved.
Candace.
I'm answering your question.
You're
asking, why aren't you just going to point to one person? That to me, even that seems like a part of telling people not to believe their own gut. Obviously, for this to have been pulled off, there had to have been multiple people involved. There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen. Now, who knows what their motivations are? Doesn't mean maybe this person's like, hey, I'm going to help you.
Hang on, okay, let me stop you. Hang on. When you say obviously somebody at Turning Point, you are accusing right now people that worked with Charlie Kirk at the company he built, which is now run by his widow. You are directly accusing people in that company of being complicit in his murder, right?
I want to just be very clear connecting that dot. So I said that when there is a conspiracy, of course, there are going to be multiple people involved. So applying that same logic to JFK, right? Knowing, as I do, and as Charlie did believe that LBJ was involved, which then implicates the feds as having been involved, which then implicates the Dallas police station as being involved. I believe Israel was obviously involved, that they were the ones that wanted him dead for saying that what is now AIPAC should have to register under FARA. So there's motive. There are people that have to be involved on the ground that day. There are people that have to be willing to allow the perpetrators to get away. There has to be media that's complicit. And that's what literally Operation Mockingbird was. It was established to persuade the public.
Candace, here's the problem.
Well, it was established.
But here's the problem with everything you're saying.
In this massive cover-up.
You keep saying, and this is where people think you're prone to endless conspiracy theories for whatever reason.
Okay.
Is you keep using the phrase, they have to have been involved. So by that yardstick, what you're saying is with JFK's assassination, and we recently had a lot of the files released, which did not conclusively prove any of these things, right? Now, again, I don't know what happened to JFK, but the one possibility you've not ruled in is it was just as simple as Lee Harvey Oswald. It might have been. We don't know. Right, so when you say the media has to have been involved, Lyndon Johnson has to have been. But my problem is you're stating all these things as facts.
63. So it's such a nonsense to say it was Lee Harvey Oswald.
You don't know that.
That's just such a nonsense. Like, yeah, no, I do know it was not Lee Harvey Oswald acting by himself, and then that required national security to lock down the files, and that required the feds to impart, the CIA to impart Operation Mockingbird to convince the public that it was, you can't go against, there's a grieving widow, don't look further into it, don't believe your own eyes.
Let me just say, this is your Candace.
It was a grand conspiracy that killed JFK, and I am going to say that confidently, and I just think we have to grow up. We have to grow up. We can't keep pretending Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK.
Fine.
We can't keep doing that.
That is your opinion. Today's show is sponsored by Oxford Natural, makers of the Optimum Day and Optimum Night all-natural supplements. Thousands of Brits and Americans are already taking them with incredible results. Optimum Day boosts your energy and supports weight loss throughout the day.
hospital. When I tell you this story, your jaw. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. I am telling you, get ready. We have an explosive episode today. Actually, I should say it's a non-explosive episode, and you'll see why. We're going to jump right into this because after yesterday's episode, we were contacted by a variety of people with information, and it's time to state unequivocally that the steel neck quotation did not come from the surgeon. Okay, not only that, but it's odd that federal agents were, I would say, too involved at the hospital. When I tell you this story, your jaw is going to hit the floor. We also have never before seen photos of the vehicle, I know I sound like a fed here, that Charlie was transported in to the hospital when they were trying to save his life. I'm telling you, my perspective is that all of these leads are ramping up. The reason for that is because the general public is actually not receptive to what is very clearly a military-grade psychological operation, complete with influencers and botted activity on social media. We're so let down, it's over. I'm never watching this show ever again. Candace took money. The people can see what you're doing, feds. They can see it. I can see it. And now we're gonna, gotta go max today. Welcome back to Candace. What I said on my Instagram stories, if you're not following me over on Instagram, is very
Care what was said. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. You already know what it is, man. You know you on here with your boy Dealatofficial. And this is No Filters. Hit that double tap that screen, hit that like button. You already know, subscribe, become a member today. Let me tell you something about controlled opposition. When you are op, you just a op. But when you in a controlled op, that means that you know your role and you know your chaos. That means you know your role and your job alone in a chaos world, a part of a system that does nothing but control the people and wants to decrease the people but control the narrative. When you have people in position and want to control the narrative, now you have to understand that in their life, everything is a story and a movie. Everything is storytelling. Everything is a picture, a book, without even doing it. Because again, they want to control the narrative. Anytime they allow us to play with our nerves, the more they play with our nerves, and then we find out that we don't really know nothing but something, regardless of what they trying to color that picture or what they're trying to put out, the narrative. You got to understand in these moments, in these times when that come up, you got to put your thinking cap on. You got to put your eyes on. You got to put your ears on and recognize that if it walk like a duck and if it talk like a duck, damn it, it's a duck. And now you got to get your hand out, go duck hunting season. Because at the end of the day, we won't allow the headlines to take over in between the lines. We here to read in between the lines instead of the headline. Because at the end of the day, that's the narrative. That's the false teaching narrative that'll make you think what happened and it didn't, fam. Because again, they all ducks. You feel me? That's the realness of it. Let's get real. Let's get right. Let's get right. Bam! Let's act like we know what's going on. Here we got the new No Filters hoodies, just to let you know. Let's remind you to what we got going, fam. These is the Christmas joints. You feel me? Busting out, coming in real well on that. The Christmas hoodies right there on the green joint. And then we got the white one over here for you. Just so you know, fam, if you want to look into that, if you want to see about that, just get with me. Let me know. Your money going to No Filters Cash Out and your size coming to me and the color. Let's act like we know. And of course, you already know that red. That's only one way to do it close. You see it? You see the bows. You see the, all for the Christmas. And let's not forget, don't forget the new line, the new wave, the new sway of the hoodie. Don't get it twisted, fam. We in here and we bust out with the new hoodie gang. Letting you know that's how we coming. That's how we going, and that's what we doing. Coming out with the blue joint, so you know the hoodie. And this is the new branded one. This the new branded with the no filters on the hoodie, fam. You hear me, fam? With the no filters on the hoodie. You get it on the hoodie. You feel me? And then you get it right here on the sleeve, fam. With the no filters on the sleeve. Yeah, fam. And then you turn around and get, bam! You be able to hit the no filter, so you can hit that like button and subscribe. Why? Cause we cooking! Playing in here, boy. Act like you know what's going on. And get your life right. Get the ducks out the way. Get your hoodies now. Get with your boy Dealatofficial T. So you can get the right one for you. Right one for your family. For your kids. That's your best birthday present ever. You hear me? Don't get it twisted. Never forget it. The t-shirt's always around the corner. You already know, fam. Make sure you get with your boy. Let me know what color you want, what size you are. And you're sending your money to Cash App, so I know it's you coming to me, so we can take care and make sure whatever way you want it is always going to be there to make sure that we get it in and do it the right way that it need to be done. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Subscribe now. Become a member today. Why? Because we're here to save your life.
True. I actually have never played chess, but I think I'm a good player. I think I'm a good chess player in life. So I've kept a lot of cards close to my chest, and truly it is because I have understood throughout this entire process that we need to separate the wheat from the chaff. Like, of course, not every single person is bad at Turning Point USA. We don't have every single person that's bad that works for the FBI or the NSA. There are good guys everywhere, and there are bad people everywhere. So when somebody's telling you everyone's good or everybody's bad, you should not believe that. Well, get ready, guys. Buckle up. Where do we begin? This is what I would say is clearly a federal disaster. We might even have to bring in FEMA. That's how much of a disaster this is and how much it is going to be for Kash Patel when we get through with this episode, because federal prints are all over the Charlie Kirk assassination story. Okay? There's no way to deny it at this.
Did you see what I seen? Did you see what I just seen? If you seen what I just seen and you caught it, press 1 right now. Press it right now. If you seen what I seen, if you seen it, press 1 right now. Don't do nothing else with your life, but press 1 in here right now. Did you see it? See? See? And all y'all, and some of y'all in here, you tree huggers, you lovers. Did you see what I seen? Press 1 if you seen it now. I bet you thought you'd never see that, didn't you? And now you're seeing it. You see what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden you're seeing it after you just met with who? But you was controlled out before when? And now you throwing up what? Because of why? Virginia Harley in the building said rewind, please. No, I'm gonna rewind if you hit that like button and double tap that screen and subscribe. I'm gonna rewind for Virginia as long as I know you subscribe right now. If you subscribe, I'm gonna rewind. If you subscribe, I'm gonna rewind, fam. Tell you that right now. If you subscribe, I'm gonna rewind. Okay, and I believe you. Ain't even check. I believe. Shout out to you. Let me bring it back for the real ones and the hustlers.
Point. So when somebody's telling you everyone's good or everybody's bad, you should not believe that. Well, get ready, guys, buckle up. Where do we begin? This is what I would say is clearly a federal disaster. We might even have to bring in FEMA. That's how much of a disaster this is and how much it is going to be for Kash Patel when we get through with this episode, because federal prints are all over the Charlie Kirk assassination story, okay? There's no way to deny it at this point. Nothing they are saying makes sense. They've told us lies, misrepresentations, and I think they are the ones who are attacking people who are reasonably concluding that nothing makes sense. Okay, our intuition is telling us that something bigger is at play, and we're gonna keep following that intuition and mocking us for saying that we had dreams that Charlie was betrayed, or rather mocking me. Many people actually had dreams and they email me them all the time. It's just not gonna work. You are going to come apart when I deliver these new facts to you. So yesterday, I revealed to you that I was told that Andrew Colvett was allegedly flying blind when he tweeted out the conversation that he had with the surgeon. Now, just to jog your memory, how that all came about was me doing the show and saying, oh, I saw the back footage and there was no blood. And then very quickly, which I didn't really understand why he had done this, he tweeted out that long tweet about Superman neck, and he puts this quotation in here, quote, that the surgeon said, quote, absolutely, it should have gone through. Sorry, go back to the last one. Absolutely, the bullet should have gone through, which is very normal for a high-powered, high-velocity round. I've seen wounds from this caliber many times, and they always just go through everything. This would have taken a moose or two down, an elk, etc. Next up, that quotation continues. It was an absolute miracle that someone else did not get killed. His bone was so healthy, and the density was so impressive that he's like the Man of Steel. It should have just gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. And that seems strange for a lot of reasons. First off, HIPAA compliance. Why would he speak to Andrew Colvett? Also, did Andrew Colvett record it? It's a pretty long quotation. Why is it in quotations? Do you remember that verbatim? And I can tell you that it's kind of been a mess since. This is kind of the beginning of everything, right? If we're being honest, that one solitary tweet was the beginning of the, what I would call, federal mask slip. It feels like they have been feeding us slop ever since. Well, I now feel comfortable revealing some more information for you, some that I have held on to, but which the people who gave this to me are now insisting that I reveal. Simply put, and I'm going to say allegedly here only because I did not speak directly to Dr. Lee Trotter. But I very much have verified and trust this source. Yeah. Simply put, never once did Dr. Lee Trotter say that Charlie's neck was stopped. Charlie's neck stopped a 30-06 bullet. It's actually hugely embarrassing for any surgeon to have said something like that. It's hugely embarrassing also because we're being told that, he's violating HIPAA to get this information out there in this very high stress situation. You're actually accusing him of being not a professional on top of also kind of being an idiot. And you can imagine that that's put a lot of undue stress on the surgeon's family, as many of them have been wrongly implicated in a cover-up. Like, the absurdity of such a narrative, if you're going to put something out there, there's going to be flack that comes upon the surgeon, the other doctors, the nurses. Are you involved? Did you try to get Charlie Kirk killed? Were you involved in this, in staging this? Why would you say that he ate healthy, right? And there's no doctor or surgeon that would say something like that. So to restate that, the quotation that Andrew Colvett shared on his X feed is not a direct quotation from the surgeon, like at all. Rather, what I was told is that what the surgeon communicated very clearly to Andrew, and yes, it is absolutely true that the surgeon, Dr. Lee Trotter, hunts, so he does have experience with bullets. What he communicated is that it was likely a frangible bullet that was used. Now, for those of you who don't hunt, maybe don't shoot, and you're not familiar with that term, frangible, like what's a frangible bullet? That refers to a specialized ammunition that is designed to disintegrate into powder upon impact with a hard surface. So it essentially reduces the risk of a ricochet. Instead, the bullet fragments. makes it safer for close range training. It's not like the traditional bullets that are created to retain mass. Now, key part there is it eliminates the risk of ricocheting. Well, Andrew also told us that the bullet did ricochet. So what we have here is a conflict of statements. We are told that Andrew Colvett was flying blind, put up this tweet, said that the bullet ricocheted downward into his stomach, whatever. And I am telling you that on the other side of this, we have people who are close to the surgeon who say he said no such thing, and rather he said that it was likely a frangible bullet. What are we to make of that discrepancy? Yo no say, Padres. But I'm going to move on because there's something else that is compelling and interesting, something that was unusual that allegedly transpired at the hospital. Now, I want to be clear that not only have I now heard this from somebody that was in the hospital, but another source unrelated.
Let's be clear, man. That's the point I'm talking. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Subscribe right now, become a member today. Don't forget, controlled opposition at its finest. Working at its finest, knowing how to control the environment and knowing how to become one with her habitat after being powered for corruption. Bet you didn't know she used to do more than just this. So, I don't even know if she really know what she involved in. Cause she look like she just got involved. Erika Kirk look like she been involved with them people. You get what I'm saying? So the biggest thing in knowing that is, that's another like wake up call, because at this point we know now, they done met with each other. Now she throwing up sign gestures. Basically, she done gave her life over to everybody and whoever involved. And all she had to do was have a meeting with Erika Kirk. That's some bunch of bull. You almost get tired because you want to really say something for real to like change the situation, or even like to change, like, you know, and make you want to think, like, if you find yourself in a situation, somebody in here said, I love Candace Owens. And I'm like, you love Candace Owens. You don't even know her acoustic keys, band 7601. Somebody said, I love her. Oh, you finna get more. I just want you to understand, you being interested, this is you being controlled into a narrative that you don't even know. This lady has not your best interest at all. If she's a part of an organization that wants you and your kids not here, how can you love her? Let me say that one more time. If she's involved with an organization that plans on leaving you and your people somewhere at bay, you love the very person that wants you and your family not here. Because this is how much even more embarrassing this is. Look at how much more embarrassing it is. See, for them guys that be finding themselves talking about they devil worshipers and all of this and that, and they like this and they got the horns and all of this, right? They stand on what they believe in, and they letting you know that's what they standing for. This right here need to be the smacked out of her. Because her black ass gonna sit up here, talk articulate, and speak in a nature as if she's trying to lead a people. And she is leading her same people that have no direction already. My bad, my family, my people, all of the race that come in with my skin color have no direction. They've been through the swamp and back. And she would choose to get involved with a people that wants us all not here. And she chose this position to sit here, run her mouth, and lead millions to their slaughter. So you want some more of this video right here? You can have it. Just know as you listen, this is what they put in place for us. This is who wants to set you up to unalive you and your kids. Let's go.
To that source told me this a while ago, and I couldn't confirm it. They said a call was placed to a DC at the hospital, and this had something to do with Charlie's body. Now, because this seemed to me to be random and there was no clear way that I could verify that it took place, I kind of keep a separate box for like follow-up on that. Could be interesting later. Well, now it's interesting. It's interesting. It's a separate person is telling me that there is one thing very unusual that occurred on that day. Allegedly, Charlie gets transported to, I know I keep saying this wrong, Timpanogos Hospital. He's raced into surgery. That is confirmed. All of that is true. The conspiracies around that can be shut down. He was raced into surgery. He did still have a pulse. And when it was determined that his life could not be saved, and after his next of kin, obviously Erika, was informed, so Erika's not in the hospital, to make that clear, something strange happened. The surgeon wanted to do what he always does, right? He wanted to clean Charlie up before his wife got to the hospital. Except he was blocked by federal officers who were already at the hospital. They stopped him from being allowed to return to the operating room. This allegedly got him pretty fired up. It's never happened before. It's inappropriate. It sounds inappropriate for federal officers to say, I know you just came out of there from trying to save his life. You're not allowed to go back in the operating room. I'm on orders. No one's allowed to access this body. And this doctor's pretty connected, been around a long time, has a lot of contacts, and is like, this is ridiculous. I'm going back in there. I want to make him presentable for his wife to get here, yada, yada. I'm paraphrasing here. You can imagine this scene. And so he doesn't take no for an answer, and he places a phone call. I am assuming, now this person did not say it was a phone call to DC, but said it was likely a phone call to someone political and somebody who was very high up, who then ordered the feds to stand down and to allow him to do what he had always done, which is to make sure that Charlie was good enough for his wife to see him. Kind of weird. Weird because we are in manhunt hours. We're talking 2.5 hours. Maybe up to 3 hours after Charlie got shot. And the feds are not just at the hospital trying to take cameras down from inside the hospital, as we learned they seized the cameras on that day, but they're also blocking the surgeon's access to an operating room. Shouldn't you be outside racing to find who the killer is? Like, what are we doing here? What are we actually doing here? There's a process. why do you need to guard this body from the surgeon who tried to save his life? That doesn't make any sense. But there's more, okay? Honestly, I think what I'm gonna tell you more is, like I said, should not say explosive. I should say it's not explosive before you can catch your breath on the information I've just given you. I'd also like you to hear the very super interesting story of how which I will now refer to as the non-smoking gun, was actually discovered. I love the details. I love details. I'm a detail-oriented person, and these ones are fun and curious, okay? So the story goes that the police officers found the gun in a wooded area. Now, immediately, we had students telling us that even that description is faux. Wooded area, no, that's actually right topography surrounding UVU.
No, I don't want to hear no story, stupid. You're going to do the very thing that you normally do all the time to suck everybody in off your stories and your story time. Go on with your stories, your story time, and your books. Don't nobody want to hear it. We figured you out, fam. We know your recipe. It's a wrap now. I gotta tell the world that you're a controlled op and you trying to bring down my whole family. Flat out. So get yourself in order, get right, get real, understand what's going on. Other than that, you better get out of here with it, duck. As always, fam, you know what it is. Early and rising early, coming in late and coming in. Regardless, you still know what it is. Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. with your boy Dilla T and my fam here at No Filters. Truly appreciate each and one of y'all pulling up, showing your love, letting me know that you're with me to the end, even from the beginning, because you know here at No Filters, we're here to read the headlines, to read in between the lines, and let you know what's really going on, because we're here to inform, understand, and be aware that if it walk like a duck, quack like a duck, it's a duck, and we ain't taking no levels, and we ain't ducking nobody. As always, family, I truly appreciate you, man, tuning in with your support, supporting the Cash App, No Filters, supporting the Super Chat, No Filters, and definitely supporting the No Filters merchandise at the store that you can tap on any button and go get your merch right now. As always, you know what it is, fam. The raffles, never get it twisted. $5 raffle, $2 raffle on them shirts, fam. $5 raffle on the new hoodies, and you know you can tap in with your boy Dilla T anytime and let me know you want a hoodie at nofilters314@gmail.com, fam. Again, never forget, I truly appreciate you all. As always, coming in, making sure that you get you something to eat, something to drink, something to smoke if that's what you do. Cause you see the title, fam. It's your boy Dilla T and my fam. And this is No Filters. Good night, family. Y'all be safe. Lock your doors. Till next time, 9 p.m. Be safe.